Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And first of all, thank you very much for all of your nice comments under the previous video, and a warm welcome for me after the break. In general, I always love reading through your comments and would like to encourage you to post some if you ever want to say anything, or if you're curious about something and want to ask a question, always feel free to do so without hesitation. Now, when it comes to the gameplay, before the episode I've reworked our spells again, having in mind some upcoming encounters, and so, for example, we're going to have 2 uses of Limited Wish, we're going to set up a new spell trigger on Suldanessellar with some lower resistances, and we're also going to have spells such as Protection from Acid at our disposal. Also, I've sorted our inventory in a variety of ways. I've prepared some stuff to sell in our blue bag of holding, such as some spare potions and scrolls that we don't need anymore. Edwin has some separate stuff prepared, that we're going to sell to a different merchant, because Rybald, who is going to be our main buyer, and does not buy bullets or arrows, and I think we're going to get a better price for the darts elsewhere, and this scroll of Summon Genie is stolen. Also, I've sorted the ammo on Imoen between the 2 ammo belts, and I gave this Shield of Harmony to Kirinai. Now that Jaheira is firmly committed to her dual wielding, the Shield of Harmony is going to serve way better as Kirinai's offhand, especially if she's caught unprepared or dispelled. And also, I think I mentioned that before, but items such as Shield of Harmony are going to be very valuable to us in some later adventures, particularly in Watcher's Keep, where there are going to be some dead magic zones in which we won't be able to cast spells to buff ourselves up. And in such conditions, items that grant us immunities or different effects are going to be very good. Also, I've dropped some random 2 normal helmets that we still had lingering in our Dragomir's Respite, and as you might have noticed, we have a scroll prepared on Suldanessellar and on Imoen. And that's because I buffed up their intelligence to 25 by drinking some potions of genius, just to look through our scroll cases to see which spells they still needed to learn, and there weren't that many. But I also have now a better idea about which spells we still need to buy for them, particularly for Imoen, because she still has some spell gaps, or some gaps in her spellbook. But anyway, since they have 25 intelligence, we might as well already learn the Symbol Fear on Suldanessellar, and that time stop we acquired in the previous episode on Imoen. She still needed that. And yeah, I think now we are ready. And the last thing we need to do before moving on with the main story is do some trading. And first we're going to visit Trade Meet to pick up some minor stuff. Basically, since we know that we are not going to have Edwin in Throne of Ball, we need to teach our other mages some nice utility spells that Edwin normally dispensed, such as Protection from Cold or Protection from Fire, and neither Suldanessellar nor Imoen have those. And here we need to get our Nymph Cloak, just to be optimal when it comes to making these purchases. And from this guy I believe we should be able to get one, Protection from Cold. And also, let's see what else he has here. Might as well get some particular spell immunities. And maybe this one, Power Word Silence, just to use it from a scroll. Right, and also from the blacksmith here. The blacksmith also has some scrolls, and I think I'm going to pick up another ammo belt just to be, just to have a comfortable situation when it comes to our ammo. Perhaps in that 3rd ammo belt I'm going to just place all of those Kuatoan bolts. We have like, well, let's see how many of them we have now. Basically over 800 when counting these ones. So yeah, like a separate ammo belt would have to be devoted or dedicated to storing those. So perhaps we're going to do that. Yeah, he has some more Protection from Cold. Misleads, we're actually going to get plenty of those, and I'm not going to use them that often on Kirinai. So we don't actually need to pick up that, although Protection from normal weapons we are going to need for some crafting in Throne of Ball, so I'm going to buy that, and there's that ammo belt. And I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to, of course, sort the bolts, just like I said, in between recordings. Here we can give that to, okay, that's full. And this one is going to go to Animan's scroll case, because that's going to be saved for crafting in Throne of Ball. Alright, now we're going to visit the Temple District in Athkatla. And first we're going to visit our good buddy Roger the Fence. Also, apparently gold was placed again in our keep. Perhaps we're going to make a very, very quick stop at the Arnis keep, because I think we should have taxes from like 2 or maybe 3 weeks. Anyway, Here what we want to do is sell this stuff that Edwin has. Yeah, 1200 for one stack of darts. And he's also going to buy our stolen stuff. And I think we should also sell these from Jaheira.
What is it?
And now we can, since we're in the temple district, I think I'm going to pick up that last staff of striking.
It will be done.
From the Temple of Lathander.
Speed, certainly.
I welcome you with outstretched.
Or actually, you know what? Let me just see this. Yeah, he has one more staff of striking, but it's only going to have 5 charges. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to recharge that staff of striking of ours that has the 2 charges, and then we're going to have 2 staves of striking with a nice amount of charges, and we're not going to have to manage our inventory having like 3 of these staves in mind, but just 2, and I think I'm going to prepare that already. This one. Alright, and now in Wokim's Promenade, we're going to make a stop at Galump's scroll shop, and here I think I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to, I have the scrolls we need noted, especially for Imoen. There's going to be quite a few of them, so I think I'm just going to, without having to hurry, select all of the scrolls that she needs and purchase them directly into her scroll case, and I'm going to be back in a second when all of these scrolls are already selected and ready to be bought. So be right back. Alright, and we're back. I'm going to slowly scroll through just so that you can see which simple and basic spells Imoen still needed in her spellbook. And basically what we are doing this is to have options, get a little bit of experience from scribing all of those, and just kind of to have all of the spells that the game has to offer at our disposal. And for those reasons we also are going to get 3 scrolls for Sinashira. Alright, and at our last stop in the Adventurer's Mart, we're going to quickly talk to Lady Youth for the 2 last scrolls that we need from here, and then we're going to have some business to do with Rhynn. Sinashira still needs protection from normal weapons, she still doesn't have that, and Imoen needs Farsight, and now we are done with all that. And now Rhynn, my good man. We have some things to talk about. First we're actually going to access his normal stock, his usual items, and pick ourselves the Shield of Reflection. I think I might have briefly talked about this item at the beginning of our playthrough when we first visited Rhynn. But basically, of course, the main thing about it is that it reflects missiles back at their user, and this is an excellent shield for Eri to get early on, because Eri, being partially a cleric, can equip small shields such as this one, and this provides her some decent protection from ranged attackers in the early and mid game, so that she can cast spells more reliably, I guess. For us, there was basically no reason to pick this up, but now I am going to get it for some Throne of Baal fights, actually. Perhaps we are going to use it on Anomen to make sure that he gets an important spell off or something like that. The results for us and the benefits for us are not going to be spectacular at all, but I'm still going to get it because it's a pretty unique item, and it might come in handy a little bit for us. Also, why this item is not so spectacular in SCS is because it actually does not reflect Melf's minute meteors or energy blades at the attackers. So of course the primary way of enemy spellcasters to interrupt ours is to throw some Melf's minute meteors in between casting spells, and this shield unfortunately does not protect us from that. But we're still going to pick it up, and we're also going to recharge that Staff of Striking. Alright. And now we just need to sell some stuff, access his premium wares and his premium prices when it comes to selling items. And of course these ones we have acquired through our recent adventures. And also you will see all of the potions and scrolls that I've put into it as well. Some of these items are pretty recent, like these 10 full plate mails. We have gotten quite a few of them in the last episode. Also these maces +1 in greater amounts are going to give us some money. And yeah, just a little while longer and we're going to be done here. Alright, 160,000 or 16,000 for that, and we're actually going to need all that money because in Throne of Ball we are going to, of course, craft everything and upgrade all the items, and you go through your gold quite quickly when doing all that. And also there was a King's Tears gem back there and that I left and didn't sell because we are going to actually need it for the purpose of crafting, and we're going to transfer it over to a different gem bag, the one that Kiranai has, and she's been collecting some gems that we're going to need for later. We're actually going to need, for example, 6 star sapphires in total to upgrade everything we want to upgrade. But anyway, now we are done here, and I think we're, well, might as well see our fighter stronghold for the last time, see if there's 1 or 2 weeks worth of taxes for us to collect. Just say hi to all of our good friends here. Oh, misclicked there, but alright, we retrieved 500 gold. Very valuable 500 gold coins. Anyway, now that we are done here, we are going to be able to travel to the elven war encampment and progress our main story from there.
It will be done.
Alright, so we go to the Underdark exit, and actually before we talk to Elhan, we are going to set up our sequencers and rest. And also we're going to release our familiar so that it can rest with us. And we can already set up the big sequencer on Senashira and minor sequencers on Imoen and Edwin. Then we're going to refresh our spells and we're going to be fully ready for what's to come. On Imoen I think we're going to get back to the standard double magic missile sequencer to kind of uphold her damage dealing focus. When we still have all 3 mages. And Edwin is going to go for his standard conjuration double glitter dust combo. Alright, and now we can rest, get our familiar back, and now we can talk with the elves. By the way, listen to this.
We shall never surrender the Heartwoods. For Queen Elisime we shall fight to the death.
It's supposed to be pronounced Elisime. Don't you even know how to pronounce the name of your own queen? There, you little bastard. Of course I hate General Savalidas, so I had to point that out. And also, speaking of names, I think I pointed that out in Baldur's Gate 1, but Elhan is of course a very similar name to Duke Eltan, and in Throne of Ball there's also a person called Berena Elkan, so some similarities there. But anyway, let's talk to Elhan now.
Your return. All has been relatively quiet here. I believe the Drow were mostly satisfied with the destruction of our temple. They have made no further serious advancement, yet.
And of course it's been relatively quiet here because of what we have done over the course of our adventures in the Underdark. After the likely fall of House Despana, after we have ruined their ritual and killed their leadership, likely the other houses have engaged in infighting just to destroy House Despana completely and climb that ladder, that hierarchy, and try to garner some more Loth's favor in the process of that. Also, especially during our escape from Ustnatha, we have killed quite a few Drow there, and through all of that disruption and our fighting in the ruined temple, you know, we have left them, you know, pretty dismantled, I guess. And that's why, of course, they haven't been able to mount a serious attack again. Elhan. Anyway, he discovers or notices that we have the Lanthorn, and he mentions that we have been able to get it from the hands of the murderous vampire Bodhi. No longer, so he made a little slip up here, indicating that he knows more than he is willing to tell us. And Bodhi, of course, had a lot to say about Elhan and the other elves. Anything said by her or the exile Irenicus must be treated as suspect. You would do well not to repeat their tales to those that do not need to know them. So, Irenicus is now the exile. That's not a name for a stranger. Perhaps I should ask around. No, this is This is not for you to know. I can't tell you, Seneshira. It is not my place to do so. The exiles, this Irenicus and Bodhi, are criminals. Their crime was great, their punishment greater. Yeah, talking to you is a waste of time, Elhan. You do not understand, and I am not prepared to make you. If you wish to know more, you'll have to talk to one of those involved. Demin, the High Priestess, she will tell you. We will have to breach the city to find her. Fortunately, my sages have instructed me in the use of the lanthorn. We must go, but most of my elves must remain to hold the drow. We must not be struggling on two fronts when we face what is in the city. Follow, Seneshira. We must let the lanthorn lead us to Suldanessellar. I can only hope that the exile will have left us a city to find.
It is here. I can feel it. The lanthorn is almost buzzing. There can be no mistake. Stand back, and I shall make the way clear. Sweet Suldanessellar. I have been away too long. I must determine what Irenicus has done within the city.
Walk with reverence when you step. You are going where precious few outside of the elven community have ever been, or ever seen. And that makes me want to just litter in the streets and like throw some candy wrappers on the sidewalks just to show how much reverence I have for your city. But no, of course, Seneshira is too good of a person, and she is going to use her strength of will to resist such temptations. But she will consider it, at least for a moment. But anyway, over the course of all that, we have also gained another good chunk of experience, as a result of which Sir Animan and Imoen were able to level up. So let's check that out. Another level 6 spell slot for Animan, and I think this time we are going to pick up Globe of Blades for him. Perhaps in the future we are going to spare one level 7 slot for it to have some fun with it. And here I think I'm going to just get another heal on him, maybe. Oh, maybe another Aerial Servant is going to be better. And now on Imoen, and this is going to be a major level up for her. A level 18 is going to give her access to level 9 spells, high level abilities, and she also has a weapon proficiency point that's largely irrelevant at this point. She already has all of the proficiency points that she needs for everything that she's going to ever use. Basically, she's going to be, of course, using primarily crossbows and short bows. And I'm not going to really put this into anything new. I think when it comes to her melee needs, if she absolutely needs to, she's going to be using a short sword, I think, and perhaps a dagger in the future. We'll see. So I think we might as well put this point into single weapon style, just so that she can have a little bit of an armor class boost whenever she absolutely has to switch to a melee weapon. And when it comes to her high level abilities, I think we are going to go the same path that Seneshira has been going for the last couple of levels, and that is to first go through this path to gain some bonus spell slots. And for the same reasons, basically to delay the acquisition of the more powerful high-level abilities for a while, and also since Imoen is just a normal mage, not a specialist or not a sorceress, these bonus spell slots are actually going to be very useful for her. Alright, so that is it. This, by the way, is a very familiar place, of course, on the Forest of Tether map that we have just explored recently. But anyway, now we are ready, and Chapter 7, here we come.
Guided by the light of the Rhynn Lanthorn, you pass effortlessly through what had seemed an impenetrable wall of trees. The city that greets you as you emerge is at once inspiring, but also profoundly troubling. For amidst the majestic architecture are dozens of bodies, elves that have fallen while defending their home. Suldanessellar is in the grip of Irenicus and his minions, and it will not be relinquished without a fight.
It is as I feared. The madman Irenicus has unleashed his anger upon the city, and worse yet, I now recognize the magic he has employed. Corruption magics, illusions from a race of spirits, the Rakshasa. Such creatures are very predatory. In would appear that there is no depth to which Irenicus will not sink. Suldanessellar is under siege. With this number of beasts under his command, Irenicus will be very hard to unseat.
Yeah, so here we are in Suldanessellar, greeted by the sounds of battle, and Rakshasa, as he said. Actually, Irenicus managed to assemble quite a cool army. He's going to have the Rakshasa, he's going to have some golems, some demons to help him, some drow allies, even has a black dragon. So yeah, Irenicus has prepared for all that. Anyway, if he has any suggestions, he can make them now. And he's going to say that we must seek out Elysim. She will know what to do. She has a link to the divine, and not unlike your own, though through a much more benevolent spirit. Failing that, find the High Priestess Demon. If anyone had warning of Irenicus and made preparations, it would be one of those two. Go, Seneshira. I will garrison this area with my elite war guards. We will shepherd people to safety as you secure the inner city. So of course, as always, we have to do everything, while these elite elven guards are going to display some big proficiency when it comes to casting protective magic here. Just look at these mighty pre-buffs, such as armor. Or the single target, just level 1 protection from evil. At least one guy had a better idea and cast mirror images. Anyway, we are going to buff up ourselves, and now watch Elhan how it's done, how the professionals do it, and perhaps you will be able to teach your elite warriors how to buff up. We're going to primarily buff up against some physical damage here. And I think we might as well apply chaotic commands already, because the Rakshasa here do have access to some disabling spells. Also, we are going to do a little switcheroo when it comes to our items, because there are going to be some bigger golems, like iron golems and the adamantite golems, who like to cast that poison gas cloud. And for all that, we are going to use some protection from poison. We are going to use that scroll on Seneshira. We are going to give the amulet of protection from poison to Jaheira, and Anomen is going to get the Ring of Gax to be protected against poison that way. So all of our frontliners are going to be protected. Alright, and we might as well haste ourselves. And we are going to start the cleansing of Suldanessellar. So there's quite a few of different points of interest, and from most of these buildings we are going to get an item, an artifact that we are going to need for later. For example, here we're going to get the horn and the harp from this harpist house. We're going to need that for when we enter the palace, but the palace is sealed for now. We're going to have to open it up by gathering 3 other artifacts. The Moonblade from this House of the Moon. From the forest clearing, there's going to be a certain goblet in position of an enemy there, and then the House of the Talisman is going to give us, you might have guessed it, the talisman that we are going to have to bring to the Temple of Rilithane. But anyway, let's just kind of go around the place. There's going to be some lag because of different creatures and their SCS scripts loading. Alright, so here we have some golems that are going to instantly die to Crom Fair.
I await your It will be done.
This cannot be happening. It cannot.
Yeah, they're going to, of course, speak of the horrors that have transpired here during the assault on Suldanessellar. And they're also going to mention Demon, that we should seek her out. And we are going to tell them, of course, that Elhan at the entrance is trying to see the elves to safety. So they should go there and try to save themselves. Right, there's going to be quite a few different projectile types for us to gather. Also this Cloak of Elven Kind, which is pretty interesting, giving us a pretty big boost to hide in shadows, but this comes way too late in the game. So, oh, I didn't want to actually place it here. We are going to sell it later. Here we have the horn that we're going to need for later. And when it comes to these projectiles,
Yes?
we can give them to Iman and continue.
What is it?
Alright, I think we are going to clear this entrance to the temple of Rilifane, but we're not going to step into the temple. We have no business there yet. Oh, here's an iron golem.
Direct me as you wish.
Hello, buddy. Of course, here the pathfinding on these narrow places is going to provide us with some trouble. And there's also another group of golems that we're going to have to clear out
Retreat or fall before me.
first, I think, before going to the temple.
Will be done.
Oh yeah, there they are.
Yes, certainly.
Alright, boom.
What is it now?
No use.
Whoa.
You're mine. I go.
Be careful, Jaheira. Let's actually give her 1 iron skins.
Next time.
1 set of those.
No use. No use. Weapon is of no use. I will. Weapon is of no use. Speak. Weapon is of no use. Weapon has no effect.
The weapon ineffective messages are, of course, from Sinishira's offhand, not from Crom. Anyway,
Quickly and precisely.
let me just check something. Yeah. Yes. Let's just teleport our guys closer to the temple.
Something good to go?
And here we are going to, I think, use our first use of Limited Wish. And just to give all of our party members a minor globe, which is going to greatly reduce the offensive potential of the Rakshasas that we are going to encounter in a second. So now every one of us has minor globe, and here we're going to meet some other types of Rakshasas, some Rajas and Maharajas, and they are basically a little more threatening, I guess, versions of Rakshasas, especially these Maharajas, which have basically double the hit points of Rakshasas. They have almost 150 hit points, whereas most Rakshasas have around 80. And we're going to have to detect illusions. Yeah, those sequencers, those puny sequencers, of course, are not going to do anything to us, having that minor globe. And I think what we're going to do here is have some fun with Edwin. We have memorized many horrid wiltings on him, and let's just unleash the classic chain contingency with triple horrid wiltings. The triple horrid wiltinger. And that should provide us with some damage against these Rakshasa.
Shall go forth at your command.
Where's the Maharaja? Let's focus on him, perhaps. Alright, there has been that triple horrid wilting unleashed, and it did manage to do some damage. Very nice. I think there's one Maharaja that I need to be pretty precise to click. Just one of them left.
I am ready. I thought.
Alright, finally.
Will be done. What is it?
Alright, and let us continue. Some more golems
Yes?
for us to instantly die.
Has no effect. Next time. Certainly. Weapon has no effect. What is it? Death shall take you. Has no effect.
Alright. I've mentioned that before, but of course, just as a reminder, the adamantite golems need +3 weapons and to be damaged. That's why the offhands of Jaheira and Sinishira are not effective. Anyway, here at the top of this building there's going to be a pair of children whom we might rescue as well. They are going to, of course, look for their parents, but we don't know if they are dead or alive. We don't know who their parents are, of course, and we're not going to lie to them just to get their hopes up. So yeah, we're just going to tell them to evacuate.
What is it?
Alright, so that's it.
Speak. Certainly.
I think in this pocket there, yeah, there might be an encounter.
Without doubt.
Here again, the elf here mentions that we need to use fire to kill those beasts, but we actually have a better way of disposing of trolls, thanks to our Crom Fair that instantly kills them as well.
Speak.
Anyway, moving on. Here we are going to visit upstairs. Go to the priest quarters, or the priest's house. Because, and here we're going to get a clue for a certain mechanism downstairs.
Yeah. Quickly and precisely.
Alright, there's going to be quite a few different things to loot. Another time stop scroll, very nice, very precious. And there was also a little stone there, which we're going to inspect right now. By the way, look at that, you know, a high standard of living at this private little pool, this jacuzzi here. Living the good life here. Anyway. Let's take a look at this elven priest stone. It basically describes some kind of a ritual, and saying that from Corellon all began, Rilfane grew. From the branches of Rilfane the water flowed, granting life to the tree, and Suldanessellar owes all to the tree. And that basically describes the order in which we're going to have to press some buttons, or some plates, downstairs here, to unlock the compartment with the talisman. And there, of course, the magical animation gives us a hint of what we need to do. Also here there's a very rare scroll of Meteor Swarm, which is a level 9 spell, which is pretty unimpressive. We are going to probably give it to Imoen, and she is going to use it at some point just to demonstrate. But of course, when it comes to level 9 and high level abilities, there are much better options for us to use whenever we want to use some offensive spells. Anyway, there are also some elven corpses here, because if we fail in the order in which this kind of mechanism has to be activated, it actually releases, I think it's Melf's acid arrow, basically. So I guess these elves tried to get the talisman, retrieve it, but unfortunately they were unable to press those runes in the correct order. So of course from that stone we know that Corellon Larethian was the first, then Rilfane, then there was water, and it gave life to the tree, and then Suldanessellar is last, and now we have the talisman of Rilfane, which we're going to need for later.
Yes. It will be done.
All right. Continuing our exploration here. Apparently these elves are overwhelmed by just 3 skeleton warriors. Let me show you how what we do with the skeleton warriors at this point in the game. Well, if you would stop blocking me there. Oh, there really is no way to go there, huh?
Point the sword, and I shall strike.
Yes, sir.
Cry for your lives. They are over.
Yep.
As you would have it.
City changes.
Anyway,
Without doubt.
I hear you well
Speak.
now.
Yes.
we're already good here.
Quickly and precisely.
And I think what we're going to do is... Do we want to... I don't think we want to use Spell Shield here already, but we are going to use a little spell immunity to Abjuration on Senashira before we go in. There's going to be a mage,
Without hesitation. Speak.
and his pet Nabasu, I guess. So here's Ramilat. He is a level 20 drow mage. At last, guard duty grows tedious. Let's get down to killing you. Oh, I suppose I should be more official about this. You there. All citizens must stay indoors under threat of death. The High Priestess is being punished for her part in our master's curse. You shall be slain for even thinking to approach her house, because we are approaching Demon's house here.
Yes. This
And
one.
both Nabasu and Ramilat can cast a decently high-level remove magic. That's why we're kind of going in there with Senashira, who's protected. Do you want to use your stuff, Nabasu? He is unwilling to do so, seeing that we are protected against Abjuration. Anyway, Ramilat has some protections of his own, including immunity to Abjuration, but I think what we're going to do is actually pass the Staff of the Magi onto Senashira, and we're just going to... Alright, Remove Magic has been cast on Jaheira, also a Death Gaze, So we're basically protected against, since we have chaotic commands, that Death Gaze can stun and deal some damage. Anyway, with that Staff of the Magi, hopefully we can hit Ramalat and dispel him. But Senashir is failing with that. Ruby Ray was cast at her, and now she is not protected against Abjuration anymore. And I think to make ourselves more effective in what we're doing, let's give Karsamir to Kiranai. And try to dispel Ramalat as well. Him being level 20 of course means that he has access to level 9 spells, but he doesn't have access to high level abilities, I think. Alright, there we go. Finally, we succeeded in dispelling him, and now is the time for you to die. Don't need that anymore. Alright, let's go, go, go. Before he can reapply any protections, and that's it for him. Alright, he just has a quarterstaff +1 there. Anyway, I think this is going to be good for this episode. In the next one we're going to engage in some lengthy conversation with Demon and continue with our exploration and our defense of Suldanessellar, including this forest clearing with a more prominent opponent waiting for us over there. So anyway, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.